Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so what am I passionate? I'm passionate about helping people connect with each other at an authentic level, building community, but first by connecting with themselves and what they're passionate about. So I'm a passion test facilitator. I did the course and I'm a certified facilitator of the work. I'm also very passionate about the work of the Queensland Community Alliance, which is an organization here, quite a fledgling organization in Queensland, and it's an alliance of a whole group of civil society organizations that have come together to actually strengthen civil society and take grassroots action and hold our political leaders to account. So I had a meeting today with the lead organizer, and I'm working quite closely with them and in my own community over here. I mainly community, because I see community as a real vehicle for change, as you all know. So we can't do it alone, and when we come together like this, we can make magic happen when we pool our resources and connect at an authentic level. And yeah, I'm a correspondent with the ABC, a 612 ABC correspondent, but I haven't done much with it. But I have the opportunity to. I've got this call coming, but I'm going to turn it off.
He's always very busy.
I love your mustache, Tom. And you look like a dacoit from in India. And so what else? I'm a great. I have to have fun with everything I do. So I call myself a fun activator and a co-creator as well.
Cool.
Yeah, have to do things with each other, and I want to live in community. I want to surround myself with like-minded people like all of you, because I think it's so easy to get discouraged when you're alone. I was talking to Tom yesterday and saying we need to hang out with each other more, so that we, when you put like-minded people together, we only get stronger in our resolve to
we fuel each other's ideas, don't we?
Yeah, because it's so easy to get dragged down by other people who are not yet. I don't like to say that we're not far ahead or anything, but we're just different, and we think from a future perspective. And to keep that fire burning in all of us, we need to be with each other more often. And yeah.
Cool. What about a Christmas party?
I've just sold my home over here, but I asked Tom. I hold lots of gatherings, but yeah, let's have a Christmas party.
Well, I'm not doing anything. If you all want to come up here, more than welcome.
I'm pretty committed for Christmas, but I'm not committed for New Year's.
Okay, well let's do something where we can all get together then, and soonish, and just kind of have fun and chat.
Oh, even early New Year, or straight like day 2 of the year, or day 1 or something. Or all right, let's cross over to Jason. Jason, do you want to unmute yourself? It's your computer, by the way, that's got the background noise.
Yeah, it's the aircon. Minimal Jura, so it's pretty warm. Man, I can't even think. I'm really tired. Just if quite simply, people have better ideas than the current status, and that's where I connect with people like you guys. So as far as my skills, wide and varied, don't know, can't think, too tired, very hot.
He's really technical, basically. He can, very deep thinker in all areas.
Like permaculture, mechanical machines, internet. I don't know. I'm tired. I can't. I'm firing on one cylinder, but I'm here. So
okay.
But we'll all get to know each other.
Are you on your way from Tassie? Are you?
No, I was just heading down to Melbourne because I thought go south and it'll be cooler.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's everyone.
Okay, good.
I'm Tom. I'm just very passionate about creating communities. I just see that democracy starts when communities form. Oh, that was a big motorbike. And I just I like to simplify my life as well. So I like simple living, permaculture, living with low overheads. That's my passion.
Good.
So should we cross over to you, Dean, and you can go through your map?
Okay, I'll just make up the...
Go for it, Vicky.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I actually did. Do I need to give? I didn't give background in what I can contribute. Does that matter?
Go for it.
Okay. Firstly, I just want to pitch in and do whatever's needed. The next thing is that I've been teaching philosophy, meditation, yoga for over 20 years now. In Australia and overseas, in high security prisons, cancer clinics, hospitals, schools, etc. But my main focus is that I don't like the way that the world is at the moment and the way it's heading. I don't like the whole political system and everything, and I'm on the same page as Tom as far as, setting up an alternative as a template for other people to copy and do, and hopefully set up other communities the same. And I'm so excited about this property because it's so beautiful. And I'm so excited about meeting all of you because I think we've all felt from time to time that we're a bit like, the only people that think like this, and it gets very lonely and very demotivating, when you're talking to people who don't know what you're talking about. So I think it's really important that we come together because we're powerful together. Alone, it's too hard. And Paul would just like to add one more thing if you could.
I've come up here 3 years ago to live in my place on the Sunshine Coast that I bought like 15 years ago. But while I was living during that time in Byron for 12 years, I've become part of a number of groups, one of which is called the Living Together Gathering. And that's mainly based up in Tabulan. And I spent a lot of time listening to the vision of a guy named Dudley Leggett, who put together a sustainable community in Nimbin in the 70s, which is still running. He tried to get together a group of people based on a mathematical formula that would create a self-sustainable property, working around getting 12 people to join a movement at the same time and take over a property, get a mortgage from the bank, everyone putting in together, blah, blah, blah. But I sat in on many, many, many of Dudley's meetings before the penny dropped for me, and I dare say a lot of the other people that were going to his meetings, the penny never dropped. But one day it actually dropped, and I saw how his vision could actually work. And then I put him and another guy named Lewis Walker together, that's part of the Aboriginal Trust up there. And then they were going to get a language school together and all these other things that have supposedly grown organically since I left. But I'm watching it at a distance now, and it hasn't happened. So what I'm looking at right now is I'm finding it incredible that these guys have actually managed to put together.
Can you say what happened?
In such a short.
What happened? What went wrong?
What happened? Well, the biggest problem with Dudley's vision, and I'd have to talk to you about how that works, was getting 12 people together to commit at the same time. In a nutshell. That was it.
Yeah.
12 people to hold the same vision and go, I'm going to commit to this 100% at the same time. You get like half a dozen people enthusiastic, and then they drop off and go back to Melbourne and back to wherever, and then some new people would join, and then it's just been going on like this for years. So I'm quite amazed that you've managed to pull a group together in a short amount of time, and that's a big plus for you guys. So there you go. And I'd like to share with you at some stage the ideas that I carry from that group.
Good. Because I think we can learn a lot from other groups that have either tried and failed or tried and been successful. So.
Yeah, I've seen good points from it and bad points, and also things that you can possibly avoid. And yeah, I think that's probably what I can add to this.
Good. Oh.
Yay!
That's an intro.
Let's cross over the thing. We're all got.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen now. Wherever that went, here we go.
Screen's coming
Okay.
up.
Is that sharing?
No, not yet.
Okay. Why isn't that? Okay. Oh, I just need to select which one I'm sharing. Okay, that one. Okay, share. Is that sharing now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go back to this one. We've got the Hangout effects here.
Yeah.
Okay, a bit of clown doctoring here. Okay, so where do we want to start? Let's look through some of the big pictures.
Mind map, darling.
Okay.
This is-
So I think we talked a little bit about the legal structure, but Tom, I think it'd be useful for you to just explain why we're setting up yet another foundation. I believe there's about 660,000 foundations in Australia. So
Is that really? Well, can we just use one of them? How does it all work? I mean, the thing is, do we need one? Do we need one? Like, I mean,
Nami.
one way, basically. I mean, we can talk about it more, but you just need to get access to that money, and to put it through an account that doesn't have, any restrictions. I mean, you can put that money through my foundation account if it's just a matter of getting access to the money.
Yeah.
But if it's having a shared bank account or something, I don't know. But we can talk more about it all.
Okay. The things that I thought made sense with it, like we discussed before when we had our meeting, Tom. I've got my own private trust. Well, it's a discretionary trust, which the property is actually owned in. But in terms of the confidence of potential contributors, I think having something that is a not-for-profit foundation with a clear vision and purpose actually makes a lot of sense, because people then can kind of know that, all right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it has to be separate. I think it needs to be the Life Bubble Eco Village Foundation.
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes sense, because then people know what it's about. It's not kind of, whereas if it's in the Dean Cameron Design Trust, then they think, well, what the heck is this? And is he just creaming off some money? And there's a whole lot of stuff that comes up that is unnecessary. We can avoid all of that, I think, with a $2,500 investment in a trust that is specific for this purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. The other reason was that it gives opportunities for what probably some of you, well, most of you probably don't know, is that I'm working on another project to create a very low-cost waste treatment system. That's there's 2.5, actually more than 2.5 billion people in the world who don't have any formal sanitation. Basically, they just crap on the ground and piss outside. That's not really satisfactory. I mean, the Millennium Development Goals have never really made a dent in it, because everything that's proposed, like VIP toilets and various things like that, are just not suitable. So that's quite, it's integrated with the life bubble concept, because every life bubble needs to be able to treat its own waste and recycle both the water and nutrients for growing food. And so it's important well, it's not important, but I believe it's worthwhile linking, making the Life Bubble Eco Village Foundation a branch underneath that that will actually deal with the whole issue of what I would call survival technologies. So we can talk about that a little bit more when I look at this one here under purpose. So yeah, for all those reasons, I think it is worthwhile to. I think we made the right decision before, Tom. I don't think we need to revisit that at the right time when that other the charity is set up. We'll set up the foundation in such a way that we can receive donations through the DGR charity that you're setting up.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that, and also they'll be able to claim back on tax.
Yes.
Those donations, so they'll be able to donate before tax.
Yeah.
Which is a good little selling point. Not many charities can do that.
Yeah, that's right. So
can't they do that in those foundation.orgs?
Say again?
Can't you make a donation in foundation.orgs? That's what you do the same?
Oh, you can't make a tax-deductible donation to these private foundations. But with this charity, the One Purse One Player charity, we can have the charity receive donations, on behalf of a foundation.
Yeah.
Nice little workaround.
Yes.
This not-for-profit that you're talking about is not going through the government, though, is it?
No.
Not this one, but the charity is. The One Purse One Planet is going through the government.
It has to be. Yeah.
It has to be because it's removing tax from people's donations.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's keep going through. Let's more on the vision and.
Yeah. Okay.
How much time has people got?
I've only got 15 minutes.
Okay.
15. I'm all cool.
I'm flexible too. Given your restricted time frame, Carolyn, do you want to say what it is that's most pressing? What would you really like to know?
Well, I'd like to, if we can just have a quick overview of your plan over here, and then later, if you can send, can we access this somehow and go through it at our leisure?
Yeah, I'll be putting the video on the blog.
Yeah, so let's do a quick overview of it, and then as we're going through it, if I have any questions, I'll keep them in my mind, and then talk to Tom or at our next hangout maybe.
Okay. Well, some of the important ones I think are, if we can get through at this stage the purpose, as in what's it about, then I think that's probably all we're going to do.
Yeah.
So let's just go through that. For me, and what we discussed before was that the to explore ways of actually living together, as in this is a bit experimental. So. And with some underlying principles, everyone's valuable, pluralism, we don't all come from the same space, and love being the underlying principle. So this is very,
me in a nutshell.
very, very, very general stuff. But
that is Caroline all over.
Totally.
Wonderful. So then in terms of...
one word though, you need to put Ubuntu in there, and then Caroline will be extra happy.
Put that I thought there. Ubuntu was a Linux build, but maybe I'm wrong.
It is.
It's a South African word that means interconnect. We are all connected. That comes from that Ubuntu. I am because you are. In other words, we can't exist alone. We exist only in relationship.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where the Linux distribution came from.
Yeah. Well, let me add that UBUNTU. Is that correct?
Yep.
Ubuntu?
Now I'm totally sold.
I love the concept because that's the closest I have to a religion is the sense that everything in the universe is connected, and so that's me.
Yes. And totally me too.
Okay, so then more specifically, the purpose of the thing is to promote the life bubble concept and to recruit the life bubble tribe, which is basically what we're doing here right now. It'll be through word of mouth, through people's networks, website, workshop, a blog which has already been set up now by Tom, and a Facebook page. That's already set up too. I haven't seen that, so that's something we're going to have to learn a bit about, Tom.
No,
maybe
neither have I.
we'll have a look at that later, because I'm fairly ignorant about both of those. So
can we put like a link from each of our websites to this website? Tom,
cool. Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll help you with that.
Okay.
There's and Caroline, before you go, when you reach your 15 minutes, before you go, I just want to take 2 minutes to show people another way of communicating, where we can have intricate conversations about different topics.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so essentially what I've got here under education about life bubbles, still under purpose, is the principles, what it involves, and I'll actually flesh that out a little bit more for people too. Integration, that's supposed to be living and growing. Building super soil, thermal benefits and dynamics, climate control using thermal mass and humidity management, the dynamics of the humidity, crop protection. So one of the real benefits of a life bubble is where you actually enclose a space, then you can keep out fruit fly and all that stuff. So you don't have to, you're not at war with nature. You can actually bring in the things that you actually want and let them flourish along with us. Sculpting living spaces is something that I'm really keen about after seeing Ra Paula, the guy in New Mexico who I think someone mentioned there in their intro. Fantastic stuff. We can look at that a bit later. Yeah, Lynn, that's right. Light management. And also making fibre cement structures where that's appropriate, and I can go into that. So these can all be things that actually can be taught as part of a life bubble education program.
Yep.
Then and workshops. Yes.
Excuse me, while you're on the sandstone things, Tom, can we have a picture of some of those beautiful pictures that Dean had of the interior of the cave, the carvings?
I'll bring them up. Yep.
Yeah.
Can we have that on the web, people?
It's here. I can give you it here, actually. That's the link. Since my screen's shared, I'll just show you.
Yeah, it's nice on the link, but I'd like to. I just use the website. Yeah. Look, here it is.
Okay. So this is.
I don't like things in place.
In New Mexico, I'll just zoom it up a bit.
What's the URL?
It's the links on the thing. Board Panda. The links on this thing. When you get the mind map, you'll have it.
Okay.
But you can see some of them he's done quite intricately, and others are really simple. So this is actually what it's in. It's in a form of eroded sandstone that's actually quite soft. Ours is much harder. And we can actually get bigger spans. He was limited in his arches to relatively small arches, because otherwise it's not self-supporting. But you can see he's done some beautiful, decorations and all sorts of stuff. Mirrors in there to make it look like water, and lovely stuff. Really, very artistic. You can see there that lovely skylights, but the thing that's missing in Ra's work is he's never integrated it with plants, and I think that is the missing thing. If you integrate it with food plants, then suddenly you've got something that's both beautiful and productive, and that's kind of the whole life bubble concept. So yeah, that's you can have a look through these. There's quite a lot of pictures there, so we probably won't go through them all now, but it gives you an idea of the scope that we can have to freeform all sorts of things. There's also, you can buy a little video for $2.90 that actually is really well worthwhile. It just gives his story. Very interesting. Anyway, so that's that one. Okay, so back to the purpose. So the life support structure, what it's about is getting food. So let me just move over here so we've got where everyone can see. Oops, there. So yeah, look, self-sufficient in terms of growing a net surplus of food produced locally, particularly a variety of things. I'm very keen on bush food stuff, and there's a lot of bush foods that will grow around here to just give variety and interest, as well as the normal staples. But yeah, bush foods are fantastic and underexploited. I have an Aboriginal friend who's Bev Hand, who lives up here, who I'd like to actually get involved with the project if she wants to be. And yeah, she's really interested in bush food as well. She's rediscovering her Aboriginal. They basically were carted off the land a generation ago, and or 2 generations ago, and she's now reconnecting along with her mum, with their Aboriginal heritage in this area. So yeah, interesting connection there that I think we should try and bring in if we can. So I'd also like it to support a community of artists and scientists, because there's a lot of stuff here that when I get down to the life support technologies, but yeah, so but there's room on this property here for a subtropical fruit orchard within the life bubble spaces where the thermal mass holds enough heat so that you can go from summer to winter without actually it getting too cold. Then we'll actually be able to grow tropical things. So a whole range of tropical things, which in my last experiment worked fantastically, as some of you have seen. So if anyone, just while we're on that, in the next, in January, I've got to pull it down. So if anyone wants to come up before January, or before mid-January, it would be ideal to have a look at what is possible in terms of what you can grow in an enclosed space like that. Okay, so there's an open invite there. If anyone wants to get together, I can give you a bit of a guided tour of where I used to live. It still looks lovely. It's becoming.
What?
Sorry.
Horse thing that you put in the car.
I was just talking to my son. What did you want?
The thing you put in your car. You have to put in their car.
Okay.
I'll give it to you later. I need you to park in the driveway.
Okay, so there's one other thing. I'm actually quite interested in aquaculture, aquaponics, because you can actually get the benefit of the waste from having reasonably intensive fish that are grown in paddy scenario. So you have rice paddies, and then within those rice paddies you can actually grow fish, and those fish then can, they both fertilise the rice paddy while they're there, and also there's a link that I've given in this same mind map of the Japanese water garden called Satayama. A very interesting concept, and it's well worth. There's a couple of quite long. No, there's a 2-part documentary. They're both about 50 minutes or something. Really worthwhile watching, because I think that is something that I'd really like to incorporate here.
Where's that in the map here?
I'll find it somewhere. Hang on, I'm having a bit of trouble. There's something happening. Maybe I have to go to full screen. Let me try now. That's better. No, I can't for some reason get. Let me close a few down. For some reason, I'm not getting. Yeah. Let me close it. That's better. Okay. Where is it? It's under artistic, architectural. It should be here. Okay. I think that's another one that was lost in the. It's in the other mind map. I'll combine these mind maps. Because quite a bit of the new stuff that I've added is you've worked on an older one here, Tom. That's why it's good to just stay on the same one. Okay. So yeah, there's the whole food production thing,
Yep.
which with this aquaculture,
Yeah.
that would be done separately from the main dam, so that the main dam stays beautiful and clean. And so there'd be, the way we manage the aquaculture is important, so that the water systems are, we want the impression when people come into the canyon and see all these little living spaces that are like little small motel units, essentially, semi-self-contained, would be that the water's beautifully clear. There'd be pools that people can jump in and swim in, and so the whole
Wow.
concept is to create this really special space that people find really appealing. That's one of the core principles of life bubbles, is it's got to not only be productive, but it needs to actually be really beautiful and aesthetically pleasing to people.
Well, I'm originally an interior designer, and I'm really good with making beautifying
cool.
spaces, so I can help with that.
Vicky too. So the two of you, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to actually run now.
Okay.
So will I get? How can we have a look at this map sometime?
I will. I'll share this on Dropbox, so that, or actually, Tom, are we better off to do it on Google Drive so that it can be part of the I'll talk to Tom. I'll send you a link.
I'll just by the way, guys, I'll just share my screen for 2 seconds.
Yep.
And just show, basically we should be doing it through this whole system called Slack.
You sent that to me, Tom.
Yeah, you've already joined, I can see, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
But basically, I'll just share my screen, and you should be able to see my screen now. But all the different, obviously we're going to have lots of different conversations, probably thousands, and they're going to be about different topics. So we want to end up basically having linear conversations. You just mentioned aquaponics, so all the aquaponics conversations go in this stream here.
Cool. Yep.
And we agree, if we want to agree, we can agree here, whatever. It's just conversation stream about aqua. And then, I've put in contracts, I've put in council interface, excavations, first living space, funding, general, introductions, legal, living space plans, marketing, orchard, random, and test cut. So at the moment, Jonathan and Caroline have connected. But so if you got a pressing issue and you want to say it, then you can say it in the right conversation, and that will be the most powerful time to say it.
Cool. And then that can be
comments
incorporated into the overall mind map, so that people, if they want to get the whole picture, then it's there. Yeah. All right. That's fantastic.
I'll just make another conversation overall mind map
So I think what we should do, Tom, while you're doing that, is actually put it into Google Drive and make it part of the website, so that that way, if anyone updates it, it's updated for everyone.
Yep.
It works that way in Dropbox, and it does in Drive as well. So
Does it really? Oh, that's good. All right. Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been really good to meet you all.
Lovely to meet you, Carolyn.
Thank you, and all of you too. And I'm really excited. Really excited. This is just perfect. Very Ubuntu.
Oh yeah.
Well, what Ubuntu means to me is that somebody comes along to a village and they're always welcome, and you help them and you give them food, and then you set them on their path on their way again.
Yeah,
that's what it means to me. So that's
Ubuntu literally means I am because you are. In other words, I can't exist alone, or I don't exist alone.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And the same with the plants and everything in the whole universe.
Yeah.
Okay, love you all, and I look forward to the next meeting. And hopefully we can get together either between Christmas and New Year or sometime after that. I can't do Christmas because I've organized stuff with my kids and stuff, but in between Christmas and New Year sometime could be a possibility. So yeah.
Well, I'm gonna, cool. Then I'm driving up to your place on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to come, Tom, but third is good for me.
So if anyone wants to come on the 3rd, we can do a little tour of the old life bubble and a look over here too.
The 3rd's good for me.
Yep, fine.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, locking in the 3rd.
Can
Okay, I
we?
think-
So how? Okay, we're going to communicate with each other through the Slack thing. Yeah. Okay.
However we communicate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Cool. Okay. Now, where's my... Am I still shared?
Yeah, you're still sharing.
I'm trying to find you. Stop sharing, hide. You are screen sharing. All right, where do I go back to my shared screen? I don't see it.
You need to just find your mind map, because we can see your screen now.
Okay, so I just go back to... Oh, here we are. Okay. Okay, so let's get an idea of how much we're going to cover today and what the priorities are. Now that Carolyn is gone, we can probably look at some of the aspects here. I mean, this is kind of, in a way, this is quite detailed and specific to the space here, whereas we haven't kind of gone through the big picture purpose stuff. I should have run through that first, actually. But so is everyone there?
Yep.
Okay. So the purpose, we can go into more detail on that education stuff, or I can just touch on all of it. So, open source ecology where possible. Now, this is something that I'm actually very aligned with, having had a lot to do with patents and probably spent about $1.8 million on patents over my lifetime. I would never take out another patent again. So open source is the only way to go as far as I'm concerned, and every bit of technology that we develop here, I intend to open source. So does anyone have a problem with that?
Not at all.
Yeah. I think ultimately, if you have a business that is a social enterprise and you're sharing all your information, it's going to make it very difficult and awkward for a company to come in and pilfer the technology that you've put out there. For a start, putting it out there means that they'd have to do a workaround to get a patent on it anyway. And secondly, for them to commercialize it, if the whole purpose is to get it out there, then who gives a stuff? If they try and commercialize it or do it slightly different and commercialize it, good, great. So yeah, I like the open source thing. So I presume that was you've added that, Tom.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I'd like the idea of an instruction manual too. I think as we develop a course, there should ultimately be like an instruction manual. And for the ferro cement building, or actually it was a fibre cement building, we used basalt fibre as the reinforcement. But I actually have done up quite a detailed manual, a step-by-step manual of how to do that. Create that technology where you don't have sandstone to carve. You can make an earth-sheltered dome pretty inexpensively, actually, just using this technique. So that, I think, is one of the ones that definitely would be part of that instruction manual. So the survival technologies, I haven't actually gone into detail around that, but yeah, there's that incorporates the things like the wastewater treatment technologies. It incorporates things like passive cooling using deep space radiation at night, and combined with heat pumps. So yeah, there's a number of survival technologies that I'd actually like to play around with during the rest of my life, because one of the things I really want to do is actually create a life bubble in the subtropics here that is actually cool temperate, so we could actually grow things like apricots and almonds and cherries and peaches, all the sorts of things that don't grow particularly well here, but could in a slightly cooler life bubble. So using the thermal mass in reverse. Okay.
That's all the big picture, really, isn't it?
That's all the big picture stuff. I'm going to close that down now. The core team. What I would encourage you is, I've done mine. These are the things that I feel I can really contribute to it. Help formulate the vision, help create a plan. So getting into the detail. Spread the word and help enthuse potential participants. Design and build, and I've got skills in construction of dams, roads, the canyon, living spaces, your garden ecosystems, orchard, water system, and to a limited extent power systems. But I've got a team of guys, Luciano, Rob and Giannis, who are really keen to make a demonstration project here for an integrated energy system that would have both thermal systems and battery backup, solar and hydro, because there's potential here for hydro. So, and they're looking at doing it almost at an at-cost basis, just because they would really like to get a demo project up and running to show people, and bring them to see what's possible. So that's something that I guess at some stage as a core team we need to agree on, but they're going to put together a proposal. So once we get that proposal, we can have a look at it and decide if we want to go ahead with it. But yeah, I think it makes sense. We want to be off the grid, independent. So yeah. Okay, so that's oh no. Another thing that I actually would find quite fun is recruiting specialists. So I know Vicky's got some contacts as far as artists, sculptors and so on. I've got lots of contacts in relation to the water side of things with scientists, also engineers with Giannis, and planners. I do actually know a planner as well, entrepreneurs, some permaculturalists, particularly Max, but other permaculturalists also got contacts with. So and then the other thing I'll do is work with you, Tom, to set up the foundation. Probably unless anyone else puts their hand up for it, purchasing the earth moving equipment and so on that we'll need to start the quarrying will be good. And then also help prepare the DA. So there's the vegetation management plan. I know I'm good on ecology and plant ID. The water management plan, which will have to be part of the development application for council, and an earthworks plan. So I'm still in two minds about whether I just go ahead and make the dam and the road, and then proceed to get council out here and do a DA from there as if it was always here, or whether we actually do it by the book, get council out, get approval for the road and the dam, etc. I don't know what other people think.
I think we don't have a relationship with the council yet, do we? And once we just have a relationship, then I think everything will be easy.
Yeah.
We're just always speculating. Oh, what are they going to think? What do we
Yeah.
We need to do some networking into their little
Yes. I agree.
Okay. So the other one is workshop presenter. I'm happy to, there's a number of specific skills that I've got, particularly life bubbles, its principles and practice, ecological gardening, earthworks, excavation and landscaping, and water design and implementation, well, wastewater and water. So they're kind of things that I feel I can contribute to the team. What would be fantastic is if you could all do that for yourselves.
Yep.
So, now, are we going to assume that everyone on this, our current conversation is going to join the core team. Would you like to?
Yep. Oh, I don't know about you.
Yeah. Anyway, as people put their hand up, I think let's add them on and get them to say what they can contribute.
Okay.
We happy with that?
Yep. Is this as far as the work go?
Pardon?
Is this as far as the workshops go?
Or everything?
Everything.
You want to know what we contribute as far as?
No.
Oh, about everything.
Oh, the overall thing. You know, what can you bring to make the Life Bubble Eco Village happen?
Yeah, this is difficult for me because it keeps cutting out. Next time I'm gonna come up to your place, Dean.
That would make sense, actually. Come for a
Yeah.
sleepover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm missing half the.
Yeah, I think it's yours, actually. I think I'm on a fairly good connection today.
I've moved all over the.
I'm on a good connection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I've got all these masts around, you know, other boats around. So yeah.
Okay.
So I've just written down homework. People just write down what they how they can contribute to this vision.
Great. Okay,
Cool.
so I think that kind of covers off.
Comfortable contributing.
Yes.
That's another part. What they feel comfortable contributing.
Yeah.
You got to be true to yourself. Don't overpromise.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that
Hey,
probably
Dean?
covers it for big picture. Yes.
Hello?
I got you, Vicky. Yes.
Hello?
Well, I can hear you, Vicky.
Oh, sorry. Can you come and pick me up and I can go through this with you?
Yeah, but I think we probably need to finish here because it'll take the best part of an hour by the time.
No, I
get
mean
through
after
that.
this.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Do we want to look at probably funding should come under big picture and marketing here too. But anyway, Tom, you've added these. Do you want to just
I'll talk about them.
Talk us through these.
Yeah. So I feel like there's going to be ongoing funding and then initial funding.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I know that you've got a bit of money. There's people that might at some point feel like they can contribute. There's ongoing, which I think is going to be done through courses, where build a course page every time we build a new structure, and once we have a following, it's very easy just to promote to them, and it's always very easy to sell a few courses in what we're doing, especially when you've got physical structures there and they're doing things. Plus, that's a good way of recruiting to find more hands that can build stuff, and people can run courses at the foundation. And the foundation maybe takes 30% of all course fees or something. I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
Another thing might be maybe you're talking about a quarry, so selling sandstone.
Yeah.
And then initial funding is we could also set up the vision, and then pre-sell some life bubbles at a cheap price. I'm happy to write up the contracts and make that possible.
Yeah. Would this be like a crowdfunding thing, or how do you see that?
Not a crowdfunding. Literally, just like somebody could go and buy a life bubble that we build for them, and they can buy it for maybe I reckon these life bubbles in the future will sell for $250,000, but they could buy one now for $100,000, and then that's $100,000 funding straight like that.
Yeah.
And I can build the websites and make that possible.
That's not going to be possible until we have council.
Yep.
We were just going to rent them, weren't we?
Well, I think this is going to require new, very intricate contracts, just the same as like when people started moving into strata buildings, and they had building. These are going to all of this is going to require very intricate contracts.
I'm less enthusiastic about. less enthusiastic about selling them because it complicates the ownership structure. It means we'd have to get some sort of strata title thing approved, or
I'm definitely not saying buying. I'm not saying selling or buying in the normal industrial word. So that's not the case.
Okay.
These are contracts. These are agreements. They're buying a contract. That's not. I guess that's the best way to explain it.
Okay, which would give them, which would entitle them to stay there for a certain period, like a timeshare kind of thing. Is this?
Could be also, yeah. It's up to our own creativity. They're buying a service really. A contract is a service.
Okay.
So it depends what the contract would be. So
I'd have to hear more about that. I don't understand it.
yeah, I'll write up some stuff and then.
That would be good, Tom.
Yeah.
Just so I think I understand what you mean. You're actually selling. It's like an agreement to have the use of a life bubble for a certain period of time, or for a certain time slot, like in a timeshare, or it could be permanently.
Yeah, it could be.
But within the constraints that.
But then what happens when they die? You know this.
But when people buy houses now, they're not actually buying the house; they're just leasing it from the government. So it's the same thing at the moment.
Could be similar to aged care as well. If they do that sort of thing, you more or less. More or less leasing.
Yeah, it's like an over 50s villages have the same sort of thing,
right.
don't they?
Yeah.
Look, I think that's something that
I don't think we need a situation where they want to hand it on to family and stuff like that. This is where communities have crashed before. When you own something and then.
Yeah, totally agree.
I'm less enthusiastic about. I think we need to take the whole ownership thing out of it if we can, so that actually, like Tom says, it's actually it's an agreement to have the use of something for a particular period of time. And the thing is, if it's a sharing economy, then it need not even be exclusive, so that others can come and stay and things like that, so that it actually becomes, the whole thing is more like timeshare, where it is more a shared facility. I actually quite like initially, if we make these really beautiful. Tom, I was telling Vicky, I've got a friend, George Johnson, who owns Secrets on the Lake, which it's worth going up to have a look at. But he rents the rooms out there for $1,200 a night, and he has high occupancy too. They really are very nice rooms, but that gives you an idea of, if you do something really well, people are prepared. He gets people from all over the world, and it is, obviously they think it's good value, because he's getting people there who come, rent the room out, and as well as that, come to his restaurant, which is reasonably priced and quite a nice restaurant.
What's his name, or what do I Google to find that?
It's called Secrets on the Lake, and it's up at Lake Baroon in Montville. But yeah, the guy's name's George Johnson. I did some work for him with my earth moving equipment years back, so I kind of vaguely know him. But yeah, he's got a flair for making stuff look really nice. So, and we could probably learn a bit from him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that's my model for funding, would lend more towards the Airbnb for a really beautiful space that people are prepared to pay quite a bit of money for.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
It simplifies.
I think once you start having any sort of ownership, it creates problems.
I think we need to redefine what the word ownership means.
Yeah, I do too, because I don't have a problem, for example, like Tom, you're going to build a life bubble here, and you'll have an entitlement under some form of agreement, preferably one of these new agreements you're talking about with the marketplace. Sorry, what's it called? Anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that I don't have a problem with that. That's that's something that kind of it takes the ownership hassles out of what happens when someone leaves, all of those things can be dealt with in the agreement. It's no longer something that needs to be creating inheritance problems and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, and I'm the sort of guy, I've never owned anything anyway. Like I believe that we need to have a world that has no sense of ownership.
Yeah.
Because we don't own anything, really.
We don't own anything.
Yeah.
It's a made-up idea.
We don't even own our life. So.
No, we don't.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So that gives us a bit of work there. But yeah, obviously there is a need for us to deal with this funding and deal with it in a way that kind of does free me up from doing external brush cutting and gardening work to be able to work here. So
that's important. And even like taking people there, like today, would have been so good to have you there.
Indeed, yes. You didn't give me any warning.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to catch people.
It happens. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So go for it. It's an open house as far as I'm concerned. You can come and go whenever you like. I never lock it.
You've just got the layout, isn't it, better than I can, I just walk along and break my bum like I did last time,
It's getting
having
better,
you there
you'll
all
find
the time.
Yes. Okay.
Having you and Tom there all the time, I think, is very important.
Yeah.
In the beginning stages.
So the pre-selling the life bubbles, we've qualified that fairly heavily. Let Tom do some work on what that contract would look like before we prejudge it. But yeah, let's agree that where our preference is to actually rent stuff, such that the rental is what people can afford. I actually do believe that at some stage we'll have people who are literally homeless and maybe even fairly dysfunctional, who we should invite in, and and at a price they can afford, which may be working under supervision or whatever if they're really dysfunctional. So they're that's the sort of scope that I would like to see that we build into it eventually.
So a lot of this does tie in with this conversation here. Ownership, payment for work done. How does everyone get rewarded for their efforts on the property?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us need to study the work that's been done. It's at the forefront of programming across the world at the moment. The open source world is colony.io.
Okay, let me have a look at that. That's something we should have a look at a bit later. So what's this last bit of it, Tom, here? Okay.
Basically, if you scroll along. They're in development. I'm on the development team for it. There's about 1,200 developers. We're all putting our heads together, and it's been going on for a while. But they're coming out with the beta version of it very soon, which I think could actually be the template that is used to manage this entire thing. So when people come along and they do some work or whatever, they're getting a bit of nectar from the entire thing, which they can carry on with smart contracts for the rest of their lives. It might mean they only get 1 cent per day or whatever that means, but there's still something there. So it gives always a sense of they're part of something. And that's a whole new study of stuff. It's going to completely disintegrate, 21st century companies of what we know them as now, and change the way we do things.
Well, look, the other way of looking at that, which really came home to me in China, is in a functioning commune, actually people don't really need to own anything. Because if you're a functional part of that unit and you're contributing in a meaningful way, then you get fed, you get sheltered, you get so in terms of, you might need some pocket money to go and do stuff. If you want to go and visit, an overseas country and learn something that we could, improve, then, that's the scope, I think, that we have with the foundation, that if we really think it's worthwhile, we can actually send someone to do a fact-finding thing to, Dumb-and-Her or whatever, like the scope is there for people to actually not really need to have an income. And, like you say, it could be, the nectar can be in various forms.
Yeah, I see myself getting an income from the workshops and that I can do at the Eco Village, plus putting some into the village.
Indeed.
I agree.
And are you comfortable with Tom's idea that maybe a percentage of the workshop cost would go back to the, to help pay for the venue and the life bubble, basically going back into the foundation?
Sorry, it cut out on me again.
Sorry. Would you be comfortable if you ran a workshop? Would you be comfortable with a percentage of that going back into the foundation to, help keep the whole thing running?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I mean, that's
something we could work out,
Yeah. Yeah.
And if people can't write at that moment, then it can be in lieu of.
Yes.
Because once it's up and running and people are generating more, and so we'll just try and have it a win-win for everybody and set something up just to make it possible. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, everything can be worked out through proper communication. One of the things with this whole colony.io, by the way, is that people go and do work or contribute to a project just because they want to, because they care about something, and then other people review that work, and based on the reviews, that determines how much nectar percentage, in a lot of different percentages, on how much of that project that they will reap the benefits of that project. That's how it works.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a peer-to-peer review. So it's about you communicating clearly to everybody else as well. So it puts you.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes you think.
What you can do at this particular moment.
Yeah. You can't. It causes innovation, and you can't just be laid dormant just because of the way of I'm doing my bit. That's not about working with the ideas of society now. It's about what makes the best innovation and stuff. So that's really, what's going to propel things forward. It's a better way of doing things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do we want to go from here, guys?
I reckon we'll leave it at that. And
there's a lot. There's a lot to look through.
Yeah.
But I think we've covered the important big picture things, particularly for the people who are new to this. So.
Do you have any questions, Lynn, or any comments?
No, lots to take in.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and just working out, what I can give a value, and so.
So there is I've got a thing to raise, Dean.
Yes.
So I understand that people, we need more people on the land right now, like day one, so people wake up and they start doing things.
Yes.
Is there a way we can organise temporary housing? I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about how can we organise something, even faster, where we can have 6 or 7 or 10 people living there now, and then we're building things faster, and we can easily put an add on.
Paul, for instance, who you met today. Paul's doing up a truck that he can live in. It's an old Bedford truck that he can live in the back of it, and he said if I could bring that up there and live in there and help do some work, that type of thing, you mean?
Yeah, that, or what sort of solutions can we come up with where we can, it's to start building things, like say for instance we go and build 3 living spaces.
Yeah.
Yes.
These people that go and invest in time and building these living spaces, what sort of contract can we set up with them? How can we innovatively think about propelling this
yes.
forward faster.
Okay, I think what we need, the first step is, Tom, can you get together a contract like you're talking about, so that we can actually review it and say, look, and discuss it as a group, and then all agree, yeah, that this is what we want to adopt for now. We might refine it later, but look, let's get started.
Yep.
And if it's done with those blockchain contracts that you talked about, then I think that let's start the way we want to proceed. So
yes.
Does that make sense?
Yep. No, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to start doing a contract up like that? To answer the second practical side of it, I've got to move my the container. I've got a 40-foot container up where I was living. I think you saw it actually. It was a workshop. It was set up as a workshop. But I mean, it could be made into a temporary space at a push, but it's probably not as comfortable as, for example, a caravan or something like that. I mean, in terms of just getting some temporary accommodation, it might make more sense to actually just get a caravan up until if you're talking in the next month or so, or less, then that might make some sense, because the caravan's always tradable. You can always, we can sell it on when it's no longer needed. Once we've got your life bubble done, someone else can either live in it and move it somewhere else, or...
Yeah. And then the other part of it is that, you've got a mortgage on this property at the moment, so
yeah,
people could either contribute to that, and if they contribute to that, will they get their contribution would be a percentage of that industrial style contract, ownership of the land or something, or industrial ownership. Is that a way of doing things?
I think more. I think the entitlement to the life bubble makes more sense, because that's ultimately the way we want to go. And if we've got some temporary accommodation, then that can be workable, like as in just something temporary while we're building, because when we're making yours, it'd be good for you to have somewhere to stay. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I'm sure we can work out an agreement with us, but I want to work out an agreement where we can move things along faster with other people as well. So
I agree.
I'm going to put things down on paper and then start sending things through. I think
that's the right way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start getting specific about what an agreement looks like.
Get to nitty-gritty. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think it's really important that Tom is there. He can do some filming of it, right from the start, and he's paying high rent where he is.
Yeah.
So it'd be good if he could be there, yeah?
Yeah. So, Tom, just as a short term, there's a bedroom here you can just use. Josie's away until, from the 24th. She leaves on the 24th, and she won't be back until the 13th or something like that. So
24th of December to the 13th of January.
So there's a short period of time there where we could move her stuff out, and we don't even really need to move it out. I'll just put it in the wardrobe. So you could have somewhere. You could have a bed.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm coming up on Sunday, so we can talk more about what's possible.
let's get down to nitty-gritty then on Sunday. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, what time Sunday? Because I've got a Christmas party in the morning. I'll be back by probably 1 o'clock.
Christmas party in the morning. Yeah, I'll just come up 1 o'clock then. I'm going to go and meet the owners of Blessed Earth on Sunday morning.
Oh, good.
Do you know them?
No, but they've done good stuff in Maloney. Yeah.
They know about the Eco Village. I've told them, and they're like, let's meet up.
Yeah.
And
cool.
So yeah, I'm sure they'll be pretty inspired by it.
I've never actually got to meet them, but I'd like to at some stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Alrighty.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. Well done. And we'll play around with that other one. What's it called?
It's called Slack. I've sent you guys some invites via email. Yeah, it's going to take a while to sort of get your head around, but then it's just going to be a really clear way to get those important things down in the right conversation.
Yeah.
Instead of sporadically us all saying things.
Yeah, good.
So Tom, it's been sent to an email, is it?
Yeah, Lynn, it's on your. I sent it to your email, Lynn, and it's
Okay.
where we can, sort of privately think, not in a social context, but then just thoughtfully think about things and then thoughtfully write things down.
Okay.
With the right words.
By the way, Tom, I think it's actually really worthwhile for you to grow a moustache. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Good work.
A big handlebar one like that.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Yes, Lynn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look forward to meeting up with you.
Yeah, I'll come up on the 3rd if we get that organised.
Good.
Yeah, that'll be lovely.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Over and out.
Excellent. Over and out. Oh, he's got them.
Oh, goodness.
No, that's not a good look. Stick to the handlebar moustache. See ya. I'll see you soon, Vicky.
Bye-bye.
See you soon, Vicky.
Bye, beautiful. Look at you.
See you, Lynn.
Bye, Captain.